Real Madrid beat Atletico Madrid on penalty to set up a brilliant tie against Arsenal in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Now, from the Arsenal perspective, I'm going to be talking about why Real Madrid is the team I think we needed to play and how they are going to set up against Arsenal, which could cause problems or be enjoyment for the team. So let's get into it. Now, realistically, Arsenal playing either Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid is probably a game where we are the underdogs and are expecting to lose. Now, I have no issue with that at the end of the day, and I'm someone that really did want to play Real Madrid over Atletico Madrid when this tie was first announced, because you have to play the best to be the best in any given sport. Not only that, I think this is going to be an incredible match for Arsenal to play against, not only tactically, but I think it is a great level to see us compare it to against a team that in our history we've only ever played twice, in 2006 when obviously we won at the Bernabeu and then drew 0-0. Now, before I get into Real Madrid, I just want to talk about why I felt Atleti would have been a painful game. Now, as you can see here with the tactics board that we have, this was kind of how Atletico Madrid are in their mid-physical block. I know, words that would terrorize any Arsenal fan out there, against Real Madrid in this game. Every single time Real Madrid would try to pass the ball out wide, they would even get overlaps, people like Modric coming deeper to play out of that sort of block, which very much like what Arsenal tried to do. You would see often Atletico Madrid do brilliantly to get them in overloads against the wingers, and what they ended up causing was that every single player went with each other so well, and they would double up and all these players so incredible that would often cause not a lot of space for Real Madrid in there. Now, one of the problems of Real Madrid is their big attackers are the ones that want to create, and often their two strikers, being Vini and Mbappe in this game, actually moved out wide a lot of the time. This means that it would receive into Vini, which is something Arsenal like to do with their wing play as well, and instantly the midfielder and the fullback or the winger would be there creating a 2v1 with the other one covering a run from other areas. This is because Real Madrid wanted to make these underlapping runs with people like Modric and other midfielders, and then they would be able to cover them with the player over there as well. So I do think that is something that we would have struggled for exactly. And I just want to show this because this is basically how it's set up. You can see that Rodrigo here tries to make that run on the inside channel, and already that fullback is covering him in that area. This also means if people like Bellingham here, which is in the centre, are not going to make that run outfield when the ball is switched, Atletico Madrid can just get more men on them, and it's basically the most physical mid-block you'll ever see. There's flying in tackles. As soon as Real Madrid got anywhere near that box, Atletico Madrid would just kick them and absolutely do some incredible tackling. They're one of the best tackling teams I have seen in a long time. And another thing is, because Real Madrid had to do a lot in this game to sort of get past Atletico Madrid, you ended up seeing different movements from people. Modric making runs, Bellingham making runs down the wing, and then crossing the ball into Vini Jr., which is completely the wrong way round. They need it the other way round, and it was causing a lot of problems where they couldn't really create. And if you look at the XG for this game, it is not a lot for Real Madrid there. 1.15 in 120 minutes, despite having 62% of the possession and only having one big chance and 3 shots on target compared to Atletico Madrid's 8, just shows you that they had a lot of the ball, but Atletico Madrid were able to break quickly, which you saw a lot. The front two were causing a decent amount of problems for Real Madrid as well. And going forward, it was also causing a lot of problems where they would have their front three here, as you can see, go forward, and they would almost have one player be that sort of dummy player who would push back Rudiger here to head the ball, and they kept getting these second balls. This allowed Alvarez to take the ball down and Griezmann, and they were able to get into great attacking areas because they're very confident players and will take you on, which saw them get a lot of shots away from these near post angles in this game. Now, that was a significant problem for Real Madrid and would have been a significant problem for Arsenal, which is why I didn't really want Arsenal to play them. They're the best physical mid-block in the world, and Arsenal have clearly struggled against that sort of opposition in the past, and I just feel like we would have been frustrated and would have been pushed to our limits, and they would have broke us really well, which means I think it was probably an easy losable game for us, unfortunately. Now, Real Madrid on the other hand are a team that I'm a little bit more excited to play against because they definitely are more gettable. They've actually really struggled to break down any sort of defensive blocks in a while now, and it's not the first time in this game, which is against a good opposition. The problem is they're so focused on sometimes being very good in spaces, and I think people like Mbappe specifically are very much better in space than tight areas, but sometimes he can get through and do really well, of course. And with their wingers being so good at coming inside, if if you force them to play outside more, it can be something that really makes them struggle to score. Now, one of the big problems with them is obviously when they counter against you. There's a few times against Atleti where they get the ball back from a forced mistake, Atletico Madrid give the ball away, and instantly they're on the break in situations like this through the centre areas. You see Bellingham pass it into Mbappe, and then with Mbappe having this sort of space in these areas and people don't know if they want to go towards him, then I do think it is a bit of a concern. Now, I do think Arsenal's defenders, Gabriel and Saliba, are probably more set up for this than a lot of defenders in Europe and are very good in these sort of moments, but Mbappe is still undeniable, so you do not want to give him this sort of space. And more importantly, you want your fullbacks being able to come back. We know how attacking people like Calafiori, Malzo, Skelly, Timber have been for Arsenal, maybe not Timber too much, but if these runners here come through Rodrigo, can come on that overlap, then they will get through even if you stop Mbappe in them central areas. And like I said, with Mbappe being good with space, this is it. He takes both of them on, doesn't even matter about that overlap, and that's almost a dummy run in the first place where he takes them both on and gets a penalty. And another thing is that they're so good because their attackers are incredible, because they can just take anyone on. This is another clip where Vinny went past Man City's team on that left hand side, and look how many players are around him. Despite this, he manages to take his time and then end up getting a shot away, which ends up actually coming off the bar, which is something that can be an effect, and sometimes this is not the best. Now, what I will say, however, is Arsenal have incredible one-on-one defenders throughout the team, to be honest. Malzo, Skelly, obviously Timber, and the two centre-backs, where hopefully you would be able to limit this a little bit. We've seen how good Timber can be against brilliant wingers such as the Barcolas, and he really locks them down, and I think this is one of them games where that's going to be majorly important against these sort of players. We also can play into the fact that they want that space in behind. We've said it with Saliba, but Saliba is so good in them times. You saw that tackle he did against Mbappe in the Ligue 1 when they played there, and he can do them sort of things. He can time his tackles well, and we are going to have to play a little bit risky. They might get through sometimes, but in order to have some sort of control on the game, we're going to have to do that. I also think defensively, they are always a little bit suspect. Now, I don't really know the solidified reason of why they're bad defensively. Sometimes they've got injuries back there, they've got some issues back there, but when I've watched them this season, I think sometimes it just comes to simple things of them not trying, them not pressing, them not running back, and it's usually from their attack in line. You see in chances like this, let's look at the Liverpool game, and in this situation Real Madrid should have enough numbers to realistically deal with this sort of danger. However, here Robertson makes that deeper run in, and you can see that this player right here does not pick him up at all. He ends up doing a 2v1 on Diaz, who he can obviously just make a simple pass to, and then he doesn't even try really to get to Robertson in the first place. They sort of allow him to cross here and are just standing off him. And although these may be selected moments, here is another one. You can see Marlon taking them on the wing here, and the line is not only just a mess in the middle, but then none of them are really trying to mark anyone. Galassi here is by himself, Ryanson are by himself, and obviously Bino Gittins back post, where he has a run on Vasquez, who is now a right back but is still not that great defensively in my opinion, and he gets no help from people like Bellingham or anyone who's really made that actual effort to come back. It's literally just the four defenders and Modric, maybe Valverde, who's a part of it here, that are really defending, and this allows easy tap-ins at the back post, which I do think Arsenal aren't the necessary team to really affect this because we're not undeniable on that break, but it's definitely a way to get at them. I don't think they're really that good at concentration, and the stats prove that they're not great defensively as well, because in the Champions League for XG conceded, they have the 5th most with 17 goals conceded, but a 19.6 XG. I mean, you look at the teams that are above them, it's not exactly great company to have, and the next best team that's still in the competition is Borussia Dortmund at 19th with only a 15 XG, so that is a big difference. And when you look at stats like goals conceded per match, we're down here with 0.6, which is the joint second best, and Real Madrid is 16th with 1.4 goals conceded per game, which is not great. And I know the thing is that Arsenal are the team that probably won't threat this as much. Maybe Saka will be back for the second leg, we don't know, but we're still gonna maybe have Marino. I kind of hope Martinelli stays up front for this point when he's fit, but we don't think Arsenal are really that undeniable team at going forward, which we aren't. But Real Madrid really are great against teams that are better going forward because they have that manpower and firepower in attacking areas to sort of out attack you, a little bit like what we did against PSV. They wanted to attack, so we just attacked them more and we have better players, so we actually thrashed them. It's what Real Madrid do a lot and they're very good at. Obviously they're very clutch as well. But Arsenal's defense is one of the best in Europe, I'd say, other than probably Inter Milan, at least in Europe on its own. And they really are great in 1v1s and getting back defensively and working hard. We've got great runners in behind like Saliba and Gabriel, who are fast, physical and can win headers in the air. And I do worry a little bit because they will try and put the ball out wide and our fullbacks are going to have to be good, but our wingers will come back and help, a bit like Atletico Madrid did, and our midfielders will come back. And we know what Arteta's like, so it definitely is a game I'd rather play, because if we can get our opportunities on the break and actually take them, Martinelli's now back, maybe Saka will be back, then I just think we're going to have more of a chance than we ever would have against Atletico Madrid. Now what I will say is that Arteta will play boring football. This is not one of them PSV games where he'll out attack them. He probably will sharp shop with a double pivot defensively, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised if you see a system of where maybe Winery's up front or Martinelli's up front, and they are one of the only people that is not really required to come back as much. I expect Trossard to come back. I expect whoever's on that right, one of the other two I just mentioned, will be coming back, and that person will just stay up front, which could be Marino maybe coming on later, but I don't want him to start at this moment. Now I know this video is a bit all over the place. I've tried to do something different with it, but we'll see how it goes. But let me know what you guys think about the Real Madrid tie, and are you excited for it? Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.